Nia Bennett was 34 when she realized just how much silence could say, sometimes more than words ever could. She sat by herself in a private dining room at Ellington's, right in downtown Atlanta, just staring at a table set for 6. Not a single plate had been touched, and in the middle of it all was a chocolate cake. In gold icing, it read, "Happy birthday, Nia." Her parents said they'd be there. So did her younger brother, Malcolm, and her cousin, Tasha. She'd even invited her dad's business partner, Curtis Hale, since he'd known her since she was a teenager. But at 7:20 that night, her mother sent a text. "We aren't coming. Your father and I need space from you. Please stop forcing yourself into everything." Nia stared at her phone, making sure she'd read it right. Then, bing, another notification. Malcolm had liked the message with a thumbs up. No apology. No happy birthday. Not even an excuse. Just a choice, and she wasn't part of it. Nia asked the server to pack up the cake. She paid, tipped big, and walked out without crying. The tears didn't come until later, and they weren't because no one showed up for dinner. They fell because Nia finally let herself see what she'd dodged for years. Her family didn't love having her there, they just valued what she did for them. Her family's story started 23 years earlier, when her father, Leonard, launched Bennett Family Foods out of a rented kitchen in Decatur. Back then it was Sunday dinners, office lunches, church events. Patrice, her mom, ran the recipes and kept customers happy. Leonard delivered orders. But it was Nia who built everything that came later. While studying finance at Georgia State, she set up the accounting system. She landed the first big corporate catering deal. She negotiated leases, ran payroll, and rebuilt after a kitchen fire nearly wiped them out. When the bank refused Leonard's expansion loan, it was Nia's credit that saved the company. She invested $180,000 that her grandmother left her. That's what bought the new gear, the delivery vans, and the commercial building they used. The deed? In her name. She controlled the trademark through her LLC. She negotiated the contracts with hospitals, universities, and big offices. But Leonard? He stayed in the spotlight. He did the interviews, got the awards, and introduced Malcolm, her kid brother, as the future of the company. Nia worked behind the scenes, fixing disasters, making sure people got paid. 2 months before her birthday, Leonard announced Malcolm as Chief Operating Officer. Malcolm had never even run a department. The guy came in late, left early, and spent money like the checking account was his own. He bought a pricey SUV on the company dime and hired his girlfriend, Simone, as marketing director, never mind that she'd never marketed anything in her life. When Nia questioned it, Leonard just waved her off. "You worry too much. Malcolm needs room to lead." Nia watched her father across the table. "He's spending money we don't have." Leonard didn't want to hear it. "We built this company before you even understood business." She could have corrected him, but instead she opened the financials. "If this keeps up, we won't make payroll in 5 months." Her mother just sighed. "Why do you always see the negative?" Nia had saved them plenty tax messes, bad contracts, shady vendors. None of it mattered. Whenever she raised a red flag, they called her controlling. Then, the morning of her birthday, Leonard called her into the office. Patrice, Malcolm, Curtis, everyone was there. A folder lay on the table. Leonard slid it to her. "We're restructuring management." She opened it. Her title was gone. She was cut off from operations, effective immediately. Malcolm was running things now. Nia could stay involved, just as an outside financial consultant. No salary. No authority. Not even a vote. Basically, they wanted her to keep protecting them, just without a seat at the table. "You're kicking me out?" she asked. "We need space," Patrice said. "This business is your whole personality." Nia looked at Malcolm. He wouldn't meet her eyes. Leonard stayed relaxed. "You'll still get something when the company does well." She closed the folder. "And the building?" Leonard's jaw tightened. "That belongs to the family. It's my LLC. We're not getting into technicalities." Nia got it now. They wanted her gone, stripped of power, still carrying responsibility when it was convenient. They figured she'd keep signing bank docs and running interference. She stood. "Is this final?" Leonard nodded. "Completely." She took the folder. "Then I accept." No drama. No pleading. That threw them off. They expected tears, a fight, anything but calm acceptance. But she walked out. That night, her family left her alone on her birthday. At 11:43, she came home, put the box cake in the fridge, opened her laptop, and started downloading every company contract she'd touched. Lease agreements, bank guarantees, trademark registrations, equipment financing, catering deals. She sorted each doc into its own folder. Then she remembered a random email Malcolm had accidentally copied her on a few weeks before. Attached invoices, almost $100,000 sent from a company called Southline Media Solutions. The address? Simone's apartment. Nia leaned back. They hadn't simply betrayed her. They'd left a trail of evidence. All those years, she'd saved the family business from consequences. That night, she decided to stop. Nia didn't blow up Malcolm's phone or confront Simone. She didn't warn her parents as the business started sinking. She just got to work. Her first call was to Danielle Brooks, a black business attorney in Midtown who managed Nia's Property LLC. After scanning the files, Danielle sat back. Your family made a big mistake. Nia asked, legally or financially? Both. Turns out, Bennett Family Foods operated inside a building entirely owned by Nia's LLC. Their rent? Way below market, just a handshake family deal. Nia could end that with 60 days' notice. Trademarks and logos? Registered to her holding company because Leonard never bothered with the paperwork. And the $750,000 credit line? That existed only because Nia put her name down as guarantor. If she walked, the bank would take a much harder look at everything. Nia asked, "Can I get out?" You can pull out of future risk. Existing debt is still on you till they refinance, but you're not stuck forever. And these invoices? Nia slid her the payments to Southline Media. Danielle suggested a forensic accountant. Nia just smiled. I already am one. So she spent the next 10 days tracing every payment. Southline Media billed for ad campaigns that never happened, social media, brand consulting, phantom promo events, duplicate invoices, services performed on days with no bookings. Malcolm and Simone shuffled $143,000 right into their own accounts. It got uglier. Malcolm created 3 fake employees in payroll. The salaries landed in accounts he controlled. Leonard signed the payroll reports without a glance. Nia assembled an airtight file. Then, quietly, she started removing her support, piece by piece. She told the bank she'd stop guaranteeing new debt. She raised the building's rent to market after 60 days. She informed major clients she was no longer authorized for their accounts. She resigned from every company officer position. Then through Danielle she issued a trademark licensing notice. The business had 90 days to use the Bennett name, but only with paid licensing under strict reporting rules. Nia didn't blow the place up. She just stopped holding it together. 2 weeks passed, then Leonard called. What did you tell the bank? The truth. They froze the credit line. The account's under review. Payroll's Friday. Nia kept her voice even. Then management will handle payroll. You know Malcolm's still learning. You made him the boss. A beat. This is your family's legacy. It was mine too, until you pushed me out. Then Patrice called, her voice softer. How could you raise the rent on your parents? The building has expenses. We're family. You asked for space. Patrice fell silent. Nia was done arguing emotions while they leaned on her contracts. Malcolm thought he could wait things out. He posted online, wore fancy suits, called himself president. What he didn't see. 2 clients, almost 40% of annual revenue, now wanted audited statements. Nia refused to smooth it over. 1 hospital left, then a university. Finally, Malcolm showed up at Nia's door. We need you to fix this. She said, what exactly? The bank. Clients. The building. That's your job. Malcolm lowered his voice. Dad only did this because Mom thought you were too controlling. And you said yes. He glanced away. You liked Mom's birthday text. It was just a reaction. It was agreement. He rubbed his face. We can apologize later. We need the money now. Nia almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because he finally said the truth. They didn't want her back, only her help. She asked, so, Southline Media, Tell me about it. Malcolm froze. The calculation was obvious. He mumbled, it was for marketing. So you'll have no trouble explaining the fake invoices. He got quiet. Does Dad know? Not yet. Nia, listen. Simone messed up. We'll pay it back. We. Nothing. Nia closed the door. Next morning, Danielle sent a board meeting notice and a demand for full financials, with a summary of the missing money attached. Leonard called Nia 17 times before she finally picked up. What have you done? I looked into the company. The one you cut me from. Malcolm says all payments were approved. Then he'll produce the proof. Silence. Did you know? Nia asked. No answer. That told her everything. Leonard hadn't known about the theft, but he'd still chosen the son who stole over the daughter who protected him. He sounded scared when he finally spoke. If this comes out, we'll lose everything. Nia remembered the birthday cake still sitting in her freezer. No. You already lost it. The truth is just catching up now. They held the emergency board meeting in the company conference room. Nia walked in with Danielle and a forensic accountant. Leonard sat at the head of the table, Patrice beside him. Malcolm stared at his phone. Simone didn't even show she'd quit by email that morning. Nia put 3 binders on the table. 1. Fake invoices. 2. Ghost employees. 3. Transfers to Malcolm and Simone's accounts. Leonard turned the pages. He looked older with every one. Patrice stared at Malcolm. Tell me this is wrong. I was going to return it, he said. Leonard's voice was brittle. You stole from us. I helped build the new image. Simone and I deserved more than what Nia was paying us. Nia held his gaze. Dad set your salary, not me. Malcolm turned to Leonard. You always said the company was mine. That doesn't mean you can steal. Malcolm's laugh was bitter. You all lived off Nia's money for years. How's that different? Nobody spoke. It stung, because it was true. Leonard used her credit. Patrice her labor. Malcolm her silence. They'd all taken her sacrifice as a family resource. Danielle laid out their choices: report the fraud to police and sue, try to negotiate repayment, or ignore it and hope the bank didn't pull everything. Leonard finally asked Nia, what do you want? She folded her hands. I want off every debt. I want the company out of my building as soon as the notice is up. I want the trademark returned. And I want my investment back. Patrice stared. That'll destroy the company. No, Nia said. You did that when you replaced accountability with favoritism. Leonard tried to soften the blow. We can make you boss again. She shook her head. I'm not cleaning up another mess while Malcolm's your son and I'm just your resource. He's still your brother. And I was your daughter on my birthday. No one had an answer for that. The company fell fast. Bank cut their credit line. Vendors pushed for payment up front. More clients left when they missed payroll. When the rent clock ran out, they had nowhere to go. They couldn't afford a new kitchen. Leonard tried to sell the business, but no buyer wanted it. The trademark wasn't included and the books couldn't be trusted. Malcolm sold the SUV to repay a fraction of the missing money. Simone skipped town, leaving Malcolm with the rest. Patrice blamed Malcolm. Leonard blamed himself. But both secretly blamed Nia because it was easier than admitting they'd chased away the person who'd kept them afloat. 3 months after Nia's birthday, the company closed. The sign came down. Ovens cold. Danielle's firm handled the orderly liquidation. Nia made sure the employees were paid before the family saw a cent. She renovated the building. 6 months later, she reopened it as Bennett Kitchens Collective, a commercial kitchen and training space for Black-owned food businesses. Nia didn't run any restaurants. She leased affordable kitchen stations to caterers, bakers, and food truck folks who'd never afford their own property. Keisha Morgan, who'd cooked out of her apartment for years, was first in. Then a married couple launched a Caribbean catering company. 8 months in, every kitchen station was full. The building earned more rent than her family ever paid. Nia finally used her grandmother's gift to build something that honored both her work and her choices. A year later, Patrice showed up without Leonard. I drove past 3 times before coming in, Patrice admitted. Nia waited. Her mother looked at all the cooks, busy behind the glass walls. You made this place better. I made it sustainable. Patrice dropped her voice. We thought the company belonged to us because we started it. You started it. I kept it alive. I know that now. Nia waited. Forgiveness wasn't automatic. Regret alone wasn't enough. Malcolm's working deliveries, Patrice offered. He and your father barely speak. That's their business. We were wrong about you. No. You knew exactly who I was. You just believed I'd put up with anything to stay family. Tears filled her mother's eyes. Nia didn't reach out. Quiet strength isn't cruelty. But it's not surrender, either. Patrice left without asking for money. That, at least, had changed. On her 35th birthday, the kitchen tenants threw Nia a surprise dinner. Every seat was filled. Keisha brought cake, Danielle brought champagne, even some old Bennett family food staff showed up. When Nia blew out the candles, she didn't wish for her old life back. She wished for the wisdom to never again mistake being needed for being loved. Her family thought the business would survive without her. Turns out, something did just not their company. They believed they could remove the quiet, reliable one and keep everything she built. Instead, they learned the hard way sometimes. The person holding it all together is the foundation itself. So what's your takeaway from Nia's story? Subscribe to Revenge and Redemption Tales for more powerful stories where betrayal has a price, silence becomes strength, and every choice leaves a footprint. Thank you for watching.